The number 1 seed, Rahman, he got his PDC tour card in January. He's up against Richard Veenstra, who now has the record for the highest average ever posted at the Lakeside. What kind of spectacle could this one be?
Well, again, we're so lucky we get to talk to the guys before in the back room, and Richard Veenstra is so laid back and so relaxed. It just to be honest, he looks like that on the hockey as well, so he doesn't change. Rahman, his performances have been superb, and considering if these guys bring that form from the last 16 forward, this could be another record average, and they're both playing tremendous darts, and obviously it's a local derby for these guys, the Holland and the Belgium, so it could be fireworks as well, to be honest. Definitely,
and they've both commented, I've heard them in interviews, that they haven't really been talked up as favourites for this, and I think Rahman especially is perhaps a little bit put out by that as the number 1 seeded player, also with his tour card as well, and for Veenstra as well, we saw what he could do the other night. Do you think we're going to see 2 players with very much a big point to prove?
Well, obviously, a lot of people probably thought Brian wouldn't be actually appearing here. He was number 1 seed. There was a deal agreed where they could come and actually back up the position that they'd won through the rankings, which was great, and it was sensible. So there's lads come here and had a shot at the title. I think Brian was aggrieved, and we've seen that on the stage. He's looked a little angry at times. Yeah, I just think if they play anything like the last 16, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, Richard Veenstra said he hasn't won anything yet, but it's already been an incredible tournament from him so far. Let's hear from him on what's been a record-breaking week.
Richard Veenstra!
It's always good to be here. When you walk in the venue, then it's something special. You can feel it. My first time was 2016. I made it straight to the semis first year. This is my 6th time. A month before the tournament, then I was really starting to play every day, to get some darts. It's not the time to practice 3 or 4 hours a day, but I'll try to do 1 hour every day. My last opponent was Luke Littler. He's a phenomenal player. When you see what he's playing in the youth and men's competition, winning tournaments, hit 9 darters. But yeah, I won 3-0 with a good game. I don't look at averages. It wasn't when I started the game. I don't know what the highest average was on Lakeside. I heard it after, so yeah. But it's nice to get that. But the most important thing is to win the quarterfinal against Brian Rahman. Yeah, we have world number 1. He's got now a tour card, and we were playing always close games. And yeah, he's a good scorer, and it will be a tough game to beat him.
It's the Netherlands against Belgium. Flyers is about to meet the Riddler. Commentary on this one comes from Paul Nicholson and John Rawling. But first, it's back to your MC, Richard Ashdown.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 2022 WDF World Championships, and what a quarterfinals day we're having here at the home of World Darts, the Lakeside! We introduce from the Netherlands a Lakeside World Championship semi-finalist. He's a Dutch Open, British Open, and Europe Cup singles champion. Flyers, Richard Veenstra! We now introduce from Belgium, the reigning England Open champion, the #1 seed, the Riddler, Brian Rahman.
Well, both these players are saying that they have the style and the approach here to make this a very fine match. They think that they will raise each other to the heights. Well, Richard Veenstra really hit those heights the other night, coming through against Luke Little, averaging 104.91, the highest lakeside average in the history of this tournament. Brian Rahman also has looked strong. His overall tournament average is up in the mid-90s, managed 97.47 against Jared Cole to reach this stage. And I have a good feeling about this one, Paul. If these two really spark each other off, it could be an absolute quality match.
Absolutely, John. Well said. We do expect from this, but I don't want to put too much pressure on them because there's enough on them already to try and make the semi-finals. But when two players can click and deliver, we've already had evidence
Thank you, ladies
of
and
what
gentlemen.
that can give
First
us
set, first leg.
this
Watch out
afternoon.
to throw first.
Bartons and
Game
Tricol
on.
and Duff against McEwen. But this one could be
140.
unbelievable, and it will be quick.
Who is going to join Duff and Tricol? Good start from Veenstra. Rahman, though,
40.
similarly can be a very quick player, trains and advised by dancing Dimitri Vandenberg.
140.
And this is a good start from Veenstra. Very quiet and reserved in his
140.
preparations in the practice area. Looked really relaxed, Richard. And knowing that he is pretty much at the top of his game.
95.
Or he feels that he's got that to that place, and it's just a question of maintaining it.
I think that's always been a bit of a question mark against the game of Veenstra,
Richard, you require
because
126.
consistency has never really been his strong suit.
126. Nails the 60. Was looking for a treble 10 there,
86.
but that's a lovely setup.
I love that introduction, by the way, from Richard Ashdown, because he likes to call people's best
140.
achievements
Richard, you
in their
require
walk on.
40.
Dutch Open champion, British Open champion,
Game shown the
first leg winner.
Richard Veenstra. Second leg, Brian to throw first. Game on.
He'll be delighted. And he was proud of what he did the other night,
60.
last night, with that monster average. But he did also say, well, that was then. It's, of course, about now.
50.
Incredibly philosophical from a very soft-spoken man. When he was doing his interview on the stage with Lindsay, he was extremely quiet.
100.
He almost reminded me of Prince. You know how Prince was really softly spoken, but
He was, yeah.
you get him performing, he could bellow. And that's what Richard does with his darts.
Was his best. He really is some player. Away from this, he's got quite a big
140.
job in the Dutch shipbuilding industry. If you fancy buying a ship, Richard's your man. He works on the sales side. When he was at school, he just went along for a bit of work experience, a bit of pin money, and he gradually got better. People noticed him, and before you know where you are, he's got a top job.
I have to introduce him to my dad. My dad was a shipbuilder up on the Tyne. Might have a few things to talk about.
And there you are.
140.
I wasn't really in the
Brian,
market
you
for a ship
require
until he mentioned
102.
something. I might have a chat with him. Rahman needs 10 and double 16.
70.
Now, this would be a
Richard,
steal
you
for
require
Veenstra.
120.
Shanghai, of course. Single, treble, double. Needs the treble 20 now. He's got it. This for 120. But just low.
100. Brian, you require 32.
Will wince as he missed that tops. Rahman back. Almost accurate. He's getting closer. He was actually walking further away by going to the right-hand side, but that's pinpoint.
Game on.
Shuffling his way along the hockey. Early stage. But Richard Veenstra at this
85.
point, averaging 105.
If he can maintain that, I think he might win. I said might because this guy has got levels. And
60.
I've known Brian a few months now. I've seen him in the same circles as me, and I've looked at his game, but he has won me over this week with his
139.
attitude, with his game, with his confidence. I genuinely think that Belgium, as a darting nation, has never looked stronger.
100.
Both clean living lads, these two, and you can tell they look athletic, look fit, and indeed they are.
83.
One thing Veenstra has never changed is his hairstyle. I'm sure he just goes to the barber and says, just take a centimetre off and I'll keep it curly.
100.
Not a huge amount you can do with this, is there?
He's embraced the look. I'm happy with it. If you look at the practice room,
94.
John, there's a belter of a picture of Steve Beaton in there. And he's got a lovely hairstyle. It's not that dissimilar to Richard's.
Oh, excellent.
180. Richard, you require
So
100.
100 needed for 2-1 on throw, Richard Veenstra. Two double tops maybe. He didn't really go for that with any
60.
great degree
Ryan,
of
you require
conviction, so
61.
chance for a man for a break.
Single three for double four.
57.
It was a very quick visit.
Yeah, he really raced through that. He did say that he
Richard,
used to, he
require
reckons
40.
he used to be every bit as quick as Veenstra. Maybe the speed at which Veenstra's playing just rubbing off on Rahman. He's got to be careful that he plays his own game.
shot in the
Meanwhile,
front
Richard
leg. Richard
nails the
Veenstra.
double and gets his
Brian
nose
to
ahead
throw
again.
first.
Splits
Game
the
on.
posts there. That was a beautifully executed shot. They've only met the once, according to my
60.
databases, and that was in the Denmark Masters last year, and it was in the quarterfinals, John. Veenstra won by 4 legs to 3, and he went on to win the title. Is that an omen?
97.
And that was quarterfinals for these two.
A lot of people are saying, you know, that whoever wins this match, really, you should be looking at him perhaps
94.
as the man to beat. That he would be perhaps a justifiable favourite for the title, whoever comes through this.
Well, the funny thing is, same round in the Denmark Masters last year as we see a maximum from Flyers. But if you offered the same result to Veenstra from that match to this, he would take it because it's 7 sets here, whereas it was 7 legs in Denmark.
This is getting people up off their seats, loving this. The 180 signs being held aloft as Rahman responds brilliantly to the huge scoring of
91.
Veenstra, and that's a good
Brian,
cover
you
shot.
require
Now 167 can be
167.
done.
It still can.
95.
Very decent.
Richard, you
Veenstra
require
for the set.
133.
This is one of the most awkward finishes in this range.
And he can't do it now with that. Maybe go for 13.
93.
There it is, just to
Brian, you require
line
72.
it up and leave him on a nice finish.
Double six.
Game shot in the fourth
Beautifully
leg.
done.
Brian Rahman.
He used that previous dart, didn't he? But it was
Fifth leg,
dancing with
Richard to
death
throw
because that
first.
double 13
Game on.
was very close by.
It was a set saver. If he'd missed that, Veenstra was poised. Those are the averages as they stand right
83.
now. And this is the deciding leg of what has been a thrilling, at times, a thrilling first set.
94.
You see some matches and you think, how much of this game could I watch before I get a bit bored? I don't think I'd ever
93.
get bored of these two playing darts. This is, right here, the personification of 21st century darts. Two fast, exciting players.
60.
No disrespect to the 80s and the 90s, but you used to get a few games that were a bit slower and you had to keep your focus with them. But these, you haven't got time
100.
to lose your focus. This is brilliant.
Richard's got a lad about the same age as my son, and he was
140.
exchanging thoughts about the kind of the aging process of the early teens, and he said, yeah, he's become a Kevin. He's gone from the lad who wants to hug his
100.
dad to the one who comes out with monosyllabic grunts.
Has he got a friend called Perry?
140. Richard did acquire 125.
125. Oh, treble 20. Not so.
65.
So this
Brian did
is for
acquire
the leg,
67.
for the set.
He was so close to losing this set, but he's going to get a set dart himself.
51.
So finely poised this one, and
Richard did
Veenstra
acquire 60.
has got a number that looks very appealing.
It's on a knife edge, this first set. 60 needed. Tops. And no.
40. Brian, you'd acquire 16.
Number 1 seed has dodged one. Can he hit one? He
No
can't.
score.
Some tension there, a bit of nerves between the two lads. They realise and
Richard did acquire
respect
20.
each other's ability, and they know that this is a really important dart. Double 10. And there it is,
Game shot,
Veenstra,
set.
the more
Richard
experienced
Veenstra.
of the two, the elder of the
Second
two,
set,
is
first
ahead
leg. Brian
1-0.
to throw first. Game on.
Trying to get to the semis once again, where he got on his debut here. Rahman back to the drawing board.
Big scoring from the number 1 seed.
100.
Want a souvenir? That's where you go.
It's always good to have those dart shops here, because you never know when you might run out of something. Rahman's not running out of treble 20s in this leg. In fact, he's setting up something that we haven't seen in 32 years.
2 perfect visits. Can he do it?
57.
Veenstra can
Brian,
only
you'd
sit
acquire
back,
141.
watch and listen. Here we go.
He teased us a little bit. I think when that dart came out of his hand, it had a chance, but it just fell short. One job to do,
109.
and that's to leave 32. He's on 4. The best leg of the tournament. We haven't had a 10-darter yet.
344 for Richard. I think it's unlikely he's going to figure in this particular leg.
140.
Good visit.
Brian, you'd acquire
but
32.
surely only a matter of time. Double 16. Good guide. This time, surely. No!
16.
He's got time on his side, but he doesn't want to keep doing that. He's missed set darts in that corner in set 1. He's missed leg darts in leg 1 of this set.
134. Brian, you'd
This
acquire
must not
16.
continue.
He's got to get it now. And
Game
does.
shot in the first leg. Brian Rahman.
So that's a hold of
Second
throw.
leg, Richard to throw first.
A set down,
Game
but
on.
now a leg up.
When Veenstra made the semi-finals on debut, he beat Scott Mitchell by 5 sets to 3 in the
125.
quarter-finals. It was a very good match.
I remember it well.
He ended up losing to Jeff Smith of Canada in what
140.
was an even better match.
Brown Rahman's got his mum and dad out there in the audience, watching his every move.
140.
Big supporters. Richard's wife with him as ever. I think the boys have
70.
stayed home.
Yeah, it can get a bit loud in here on a Friday night.
And occasionally
85.
people are known to get a little bit tipsy.
I didn't hear that rumour.
Squiffy.
137. Richard, you'd acquire
151
151.
required. Can't do it. So Rahman's going to get a chance for an early break.
The
46.
treble 17 on that
Brian,
last
you'd acquire
dart.
154.
Found himself in small treble territory there. So that makes this job
57.
just a little harder.
Richard, you'd acquire 105.
Indeed. 105. Starts at the top of the board. Gets the perfect beginning. Hello.
Wrong club, John.
Well,
73.
that was a bit of a
Brian, you'd
flyer,
acquire
wasn't it?
97.
No pun intended.
Absolutely not.
Interesting play there from
49.
Brian Rahman. I think that treble 14 was
Richard
for
to
double
require
18,
52.
but Flyers has dodged one. If he finds double 16, which he
Game
does,
shot in the second leg.
is now
Richard
1-all in
Veenstra.
set 2.
Third leg, Brian to throw first. Game on.
There's his wife sitting watching.
So funny when Monique watches Richard. She's almost in the same position the
100.
whole match. Just hands clenched, elbows on the table, white knuckling it.
Stays away from the practice room, have you noticed, when he's going through his final focusing,
95.
final preparations. He's nice and relaxed, but the nearer he gets, the more it's into tunnel vision. And when they go off at the end of this set, I
140.
can guarantee what he'll do. He'll go and find himself a little bit of blank wall, and he'll just stare at it. He'll talk to nobody. He'll just be visualizing what's
85.
coming, what's gone, and what he needs to do.
Do you know what? If aliens came down trying to threaten the planet, and I needed
83.
someone to win in a staring contest to save the world, I would say, Richard, step up.
Brilliant.
180.
Puts him first on to a finish. What will Rahman leave?
96.
That's good.
Richard to require 141.
Nice number. Everybody likes 82.
Some like 141. Needed a treble 19, he's not got it, so Rahman again will have a chance of taking the leg. 82 needed.
89.
Can he put it
Ryan
away?
Uniquire,
Probably starts on
82.
bull.
Will. Oh. I am lost for words.
34.
He certainly
Richard
doesn't
to
normally
require
do that, I
52.
promise you.
No, that was treble 18 for double 14, wasn't it? Double 6.
Yeah, he's put that into the double. He didn't anticipate that.
Game
he did
shot in the third
anticipate
leg.
that.
Richard Veenstra.
We do see a lot of double shots
Fourth leg,
in the game
Richard
these
to
days, but
throw
that
first.
was not
Game
intentional.
on.
Let me assure you, but I'm still smarting from Rahman going for treble 18 for double 14 and 82. That was a bit different.
There's the scoring between them, not too much
100.
difference there. In any of those classifications, 4-2 in Rahman's favour in the maximum.
95.
But as I think it was you were saying earlier, players don't really worry about the number of 180s they get.
No, they don't. Look at Andy Barton's. He hit more than
100.
10 in that game and walked away with nothing.
Yeah, he must be absolutely
99.
in bits about losing that match. But if you don't get your doubles, that can happen, as Bobby told us so clearly all those
140.
years ago.
That's the thing about losing on this stage, or any stage for that matter. You think about prize money, for example.
58.
You bank yourself a
Richard
certain amount of money,
161.
and then when you lose, you get no more.
This is for the set.
129.
He chose just to set it up, though, didn't go for the bull, and he's left it very neatly on 32.
Didn't even enter his mind
100.
that
Richard
he was
to
going to go
require
for that
52.
bullseye. But double 16 is for 2-0. He's got a heck of a guide waiting to cushion it in.
Game
That is
shot
the
in the
one he
second
wanted.
set.
Richard
Veenstra.
Veenstra is outplaying the #1 seed, and they go to the interval with Veenstra exactly where he wants to be. This is what he will have envisaged. This will be the game plan. He'll have said, let's get out there and win the lot. And he's winning 2-0.
It's Flyers who's out in front in this one. Richard Veenstra leads Brian Rahman by 2-0. Tony O'Shea is with me, and you know, Flyers said at the start of the Luke Littler match he didn't want to get him to get in front. That was his game plan. Does it look like that's the game plan again tonight?
Well, it's working if that was the game plan. I mean, obviously a little bit of luck there with the missed doubles, but he's looking so casual, so cool, so collected. It's if that's his plan, it's working perfectly.
Will Brian Rahman be wondering how he is 2 sets down?
Yeah, all the numbers are saying it should be a dead level game, which it could possibly have been. But just walking off the stage there, he was very upset with himself, Brian, and a few gestures saying he's not happy with the way things are going, but he had the chance to bring it to 1-1 and never took it.
How much are you enjoying the battle between these two, though? It's such a good pace, isn't it?
Well, everything's good about it. They're well matched anyway, but to get an early lead like that 2-0, and if that is his plan, like you say, to get ahead and not let him get back, then looks like he's going to go on and win the match.
Should Brian be too worried now? It's best of 7 now. We saw Neil Duff earlier this afternoon come back from 3 sets down.
Yeah, everyone will have seen that this afternoon and thought, I'm never out of it. You should never think that anyway. You should always think you're in the game. He's playing well enough and he could get back into it, not a problem. But
just like you said, he's not far away in terms of all the numbers.
Exactly. Really, the only discrepancy there, it should be 1 set all, because he had the chance. But when he got the chance, them steely blue eyes concentrated and he put it away, and he's looking really good, Richard.
How does he stay so relaxed?
It's a typical Dutch trait, I think. I mean, they are so cool as a nation, and they never seem to stress over anything. And it'd be interesting to see what his pulse rate is during a game, because he just doesn't look flustered ever. He's looking very, very good at the moment.
But then at the same time, you can't underestimate just how much he wants to win this as well, I think.
Yeah, on his debut.
Behind that relaxed facade.
Even when he lost in the semis on his debut, he took it so well, and he just looked such a cool character. And obviously he wants that feeling again, and he knows how good that feeling is. And he's well on the way to that feeling at the moment.
He's very relaxed, but still a fierce competitor, as is Brian Rahman. So let's see if he can come back in this one from 2 sets down.
Well, what a good start from this man. Richard Veenstra leading the way by 2 sets to 0. Brian Rahman disappointed not to have been able to capitalise on some pretty good playing patches that he's produced, but the real doubles that counted, the scoring shots, were collected by Veenstra, and he moved ahead and already is halfway there. And although Rahman may be disappointed, he's finding time to sing along to the summer of '69. Brian Adams clearly floats his boat.
And why not?
Not the boat that Richard Veenstra sold, of course.
Yeah, I get the
Third
feeling
set,
that's
first leg, Richard
bit of a
to
fancier
throw
boat
first. Game on.
Richard Veenstra may be involved with. Did he tell you what kind of boats they were?
No, big ones, I think.
Just big ones?
Yeah.
Okay.
95.
Proper shipbuilding. I don't think we're talking, you know, sort of little things for footling around on the
60.
on the Norfolk Broads or anywhere like that.
Something a bit more vast.
100.
I might have to have a conversation with him about that. I think we've might have a few things in common, but we were just chatting off the air, weren't we, about Richard and just how much of a nice
140.
guy he is. I think you see a few nice guys in the sport of darts, but they've got this deadly art
58.
about them when it comes to competition, a steely determination. And I loved what Tony just
Well, you're all the
said.
same. You're all the same. I mean, you were no different.
60.
Easy to get along with normally, but around the match, it all got rather different.
Yeah, the difference between Richard and me, though, is that everybody loves Richard and everybody thought I was an idiot.
82.
Surely not. I find that almost impossible to believe.
100.
People are chuckling around the country and around the Eurosport area.
You can't beat a bit of honesty. Nice switch there
97.
from Richard.
Ryan, you require 141.
Rahman is constantly finding himself on scores like this when Richard is in a more advantageous position.
63.
Because he's being
Richard, you
outscored.
require 69.
69 now for the opening leg. Great first start. Double six.
Game shot in the first
That's
leg.
just
Richard Veenstra.
quality.
Second
really
leg,
is.
Brian to throw first.
It's not the same level as we saw from him in his previous round, but not that far off. He's averaging
100.
96, but to Rahman's credit, who hasn't got a set, he's averaging 94. There's not a great deal between them, and that tells me that Veenstra's winning the
59.
key battles.
He absolutely knew against young Luke that he had to be performing at a stratospheric sort of level, because although he actually got a clean sweep, and on paper it looked like an easy win, anybody who watched with us at that match would know it was anything but. Luke was down his shoulder every single time, and Veenstra just had to produce wonderful, wonderful darts to stay clear, which he did.
That's so true. I think Luke Littler can take a lot from this tournament.
93.
Well, he was gutted afterwards, of course, as you'd expect, as he should be. But nevertheless, he was beaten by the best performance we've ever seen at these championships.
Ever.
Numerically.
Yeah. There have been some great displays on this stage.
57.
Our friend Chris Mason had a good one against Wolfie one year. That was remarkable.
Ted Hankey did one or two good things. Going back.
Barneveld in the 90s
58.
became the man here. And then Wolfie became the man. He's had some amazing games. You think about the matches we've had on this stage, maybe the Durrant-Adams game is my favourite. Apart from the 92 final, of course, which is my favourite of all time.
Well, Veenstra here for a break of throw. This will hurt Rahman if he can take it out. 52 needed, that's a loose one. A rare loose dart, 47 needed.
Just
15.
checking.
Gets it for double 16.
36.
Well, that's rare loose dart. That floaty 5 just upset his rhythm.
Upset his confidence as well. Rahman going for double 16.
Game shot on the
It was a bit lurchy, as you can see from our camera, but it's right in the middle of the double 16. So it all works out in the end.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. But we got there in the end, and the double 16 is what Rahman needed. And after all that, with Veenstra having been poised, it'll feel, I'm sure, to him as though he's been broken, but it's just a hold of throw for Rahman.
Brian doesn't want to go down the same route as Andy Barton's from earlier, where that right shoulder was really getting involved in that throw. It cost him big. For me, it cost him the match when his technique started to break down a little bit.
And he missed some
26.
straightforward doubles when you would have thought that he was guaranteed to take legs.
This is better.
140.
When he does have a miss, Rahman, it tends to be a little low on that 60. That is a sign that the dart is just sticking his fingers a little too long. This is perfect from Richard.
140.
Nothing between them once again in this leg. Just slight advantage to the number 1 seed, Rahman,
86.
because he's got the darts. No other reason.
If Veenstra does go 3-0 up in sets,
81.
I suppose we'd have to start talking about what happened earlier with Jim McEwen and Neil Duff. Everybody thought Duff was on his way out, but yeah, different ideas.
Yeah, 3-0 down, 1-4-3.
Richard should acquire 154.
His average was very close to where Richard Veenstra's is right now, just underneath 95.
40.
And Veenstra, for the moment,
16.
just lost his buzz. He had that 140, but he's also had a 26, 81 and a 40 in this leg, which is not what he's been doing thus far overall.
Yeah, a bit ragged.
88. Richard should acquire 114.
Fix it all with this. That doesn't help. 99 with 2, you can see what he thinks of it. It's one of the pitfalls of that shot. That's why a lot of people these days tend to start in the 19s on 114, because if you go left, you've still got options.
Double 14 for a break of throw. A much needed break of throw. Come on. Well, he went for it with the third. I'm not sure how much he went for it with the first 2.
That right side of the board is costing him a lot, isn't it? That double 16, the double 8, the double 14 now. There it is again, double. Still double 10.
50.
And he's missed it twice.
When you said the right side of the board, you did mean the left.
The left, I
didn't
did,
you?
yeah.
Okay.
It's been a long week, John.
Brian, you acquire 28.
Maybe he should go to the right side of the board.
28 again. It's on the left, Brian. Here you go. That's
Game
it.
shot on the third leg.
And that's a break of throw.
And that's the correct double.
Fourth leg, Brian to throw first.
You can see from that, shot there that Rahman is very frustrated. But if you want to cheer yourself up, Brian, look at the leg score. Looks decent, and you've got the darts here.
Yeah, he's poised to go 2-1.
100.
Everything looks loaded in his favour in this particular set. And Veenstra just dipped slightly. He was averaging up around 100 for much of the early stages of the match. Well, that average has gone down to 92.
A lot of the players in this tournament have either never had experience of long format set play or haven't played it in a very long time.
100.
So I feel that this tournament was open because of the personnel and the format.
I think one or two people have found something which you'll know and experienced players will know, but some inexperienced people maybe not so well versed. It's not only the atmosphere which has to be coped with, it's also the duration of the games, and there has to be a degree of physical fitness to get through. Stamina, pacing yourself, making sure you're still there in the 5th, 6th, 7th set.
127.
Absolutely right. The greats of the game were so good at long format stuff and play best of 31 leg darts or best of 15 set darts
Brian, you require
like it was
78.
easy. That was Phil Taylor's best asset in his career. He was able to play any format without breaking a sweat. He's going for that treble 14 on 78.
38.
I can see why he's doing that. He's trying to leave double 18, but he doesn't want to do that too often. It's just a bit unconventional.
Tops then, this is for the set. Double 20 for a 3-1 set win. He's missed that by a mile. But not that. That's the one he wanted, and that narrows the gap. Veenstra 2, Rahman 1.
That ensures that we will have a break after this set. The one thing on Brian's mind is get into the break level, and then we go to best of 3 sets from there, and there will be no more breaks. So essentially, get to 2-2, you can have 5 minutes off, and then start again, fresh game.
137.
Players used to say, avoid the brush. Don't let yourself be beaten to 0. Let's not see a 4-0. Rahman's in the match now.
Yeah, dart players hate bagels.
58.
Not literally. I know a lot of dart players that love bagels, but we call the bagel the 0, and the man they called the noodle
36.
is not going to be bageled.
The man you called the noodle.
Me and our friend Dan.
Well, he's bonkers as well.
That's why I like him. And I like that even more. Sorry, Dan.
People who are mystified by this, I'll get Paul to explain himself when we have just a moment or two. It's basically all about Japanese food, something which I don't desperately like, but anyway.
The averages are almost identical.
96.
0.02 between them. There's another good sign for Brian Rahman, who is trying to erase this gap that was created after 2 sets.
That view from up on the balcony there, that's pretty much the view we have. We have monitors as well, of course, but we're up there on the balcony with a perfect view of what's going on in front of us.
Brian's going to come back.
56.
He's not been worrying those types of shots as much as earlier in the tournament, especially when he played against Jared Cole, where those things were severely looked at. But this time,
require 52.
Might have to take this. 52, Veenstra, big visit, that 134, so 2 for double 16. That's ideal, and he's away with the opening leg on pro.
Things are starting to click. And that was a first-time hit on the left side of the board.
180!
Veenstra finding a little bit of perfection. First maximum of this particular leg. And so the little 9 appears.
60.
Back it up, Richard. You know you want to. Still got a really good gap between
60.
himself and his opponent, courtesy of that 180. That gap has just been erased. tremendous resilience from the #1 seed. He did have a really good
57.
time on the European Tour earlier this year when he qualified for the International Darts Open. And he made the Sunday of that tournament
91.
a really good confidence boost for his campaign here and his entire season.
Put himself on to 170. We've not had one of those this week yet. Brian Rahman. How much pressure is he going to be put on
60.
under? Well, not a lot. So
Brian, you require
it remains to be
170.
seen whether or not he'd actually go for this if he got the 2 treble 20s. And he's not anyway, so it's all,
134.
a matter of
Richard,
hypothesis.
you require 144.
This is the treble 20, which he needed twice for double 12.
54.
But Brian's
Brian,
getting
you
more
require
opportunities
56.
now than he has in the entire match.
Veenstra's gone off the boil
In
significantly.
the second leg.
And that's
Brian Rahman.
a break of throw, 2-0. So it could well be that we're going to go to the second interval at the end of this set with the match perfectly
Third leg,
poised and
Brian
level.
to throw
Is
first.
this the point of the match where
Game on.
we explain the whole noodle thing?
Yeah, go on, get on with it, make it short.
What, short noodle? Well, of course, when Brian
97.
came through the ranks in Belgium a few years ago, we looked at him in some result sheets, and myself and my colleague Dan Dawson were convening, and he came up with the brilliant nickname the Noodle, because in Japan they've got a certain cuisine where it's ramen noodles. It's not spelt the same,
83.
but close enough.
Yeah, right. Understandably, that hasn't really caught on. Let's go back to it.
Brian didn't actually
60.
like it, but at the start of the year he actually said, when we resurrected it, I actually like it now, so it's a bit of an affectionate nickname.
60.
Well, he could do with winning this game first to increase his fame, and he has to get this leg under his belt first of all.
91.
Another leave of that 170, and it would be to save this set. Brian's job to get to that number or better.
And he's not done so.
59.
So 6
Richard
darts
Dwyer,
from here for
170.
Veenstra to make it 2-1. Just as well,
60.
he's going to need him.
No trouble there, just makes things a bit more difficult when he returns. But it is a bit of an invitation for Brian, and he's not RSVPing yes.
48. Richard, you require 110.
110 needed. Treble 20, first port of call, and he's got it. And so for tops,
90.
This would be
Brian,
a
you
killer
require
blow
154.
for set 4. I fancy he's going to go 19s here. Well, how wrong can you be? Thanks, Brian. You should have gone 19s because you hit one.
114.
double 10.
Richard, you require 20.
This again to keep the
In
set
on the third
alive,
leg,
and he does
Richard
so.
Veenstra.
Can you just
Fourth leg,
imagine,
Richard
John,
to
if
throw
Rahman
first.
was to lose
Game on.
this set, how much it would hurt?
Massively.
It would be a very odd situation for Brian, because
100.
hypothesize a possible 3-1 lead for Richard Veenstra from here.
100.
Rahman would feel bereft, whereas at 3-1 down, Neil Duff earlier felt good.
60.
Yeah, because he was on the way back. The momentum had started. 3-0 down, and he was starting his surge from there.
140.
Hence why Brian has to find this set just to take us into a fresh match after the break. This is just sparring, potentially ahead of what could be the knockout
140.
blows after the interval.
Veenstra getting his nose ahead on his throw. Wanting this to go to
60.
a deciding leg, this fourth set.
2 more games to come, of course, after this, including the
81.
England captain James Hurrell. He's up against Cameron Menzies, and then before we see that game, we've got Eileen de Graaf against Bo Greaves to finalise the women's semi-finals.
58. Richard, you require 120.
120, needs the treble and doesn't get it. So Rahman will come back
100.
with
Brian, you require
143. This is for the
143.
set.
89 left. Almost gets a shot at double 16.
127.
So Veenstra to keep this one really interesting.
Double 10. And he's done it. It's 2-2. And so Rahman now
Game on.
has the darts
140.
and needs this to make it 2 apiece. Otherwise, as Paul was saying, it would be 3-1 Veenstra, and Rahman would be feeling, I think, very much deflated.
85.
When Rahman was in the corner in the last leg decider against Johnny Haynes, he started with a 180 in the very last leg of the
140.
contest. And this game right here, this leg, is almost like a last leg decider. And we're seeing a maximum from Veenstra, but we can't ignore the fact that Rahman's at 2 140s and he's got more coming.
Well, what a leg the two are producing here. 9 darts down to 81. And here comes Veenstra again.
140.
And he is 9 darts down to 96.
This is huge. Bullseye for 2-2. Now,
42.
Richard, what can you do
Richard to require
to keep
6.
your lead at 2 sets?
2 darts. There's the first. Double 18. Oh, he's
78.
overdone it. So Rahman now, 39.
Brian, you require 39.
Which double do you want? Double 16. It is 2-2. And we may have a fresh match after the break, and it's going to be best of 3 sets. Phenomenal stuff from both players. The averages are over 90. They're very, very even. But when we come back after the break, this one will have its conclusion. I got a feeling this one is going to go the distance.
Well, we have a real battle on our hands now. Brian Rahman has fought back. It's now 2 sets all. Tony, you've got that big smile on your face. How did he do it?
He played like the #1 seed. He did exactly what he had to do. I mean, there was some quality darts, a lot of quality darts. Most of them came from Brian. But Richard stuck in there and almost stole it again with that last double 18. But yeah, that's what great players do. 2-0 behind, came in through a lot of great darts in them 2 sets. And again, now we're back to square one.
Because Richard had been quite opportunistic, hadn't he, and taking those opportunities when they presented themselves before the end of that last set.
And I expected that double 18 to win because that would have carried on the trend. And yeah, it's just made for another exciting game. And I think there's going to be more of the same. It's going to be tight. We said it was tight before the break, and yeah, it's carried on that way.
Does it feel now, though, that the momentum is with Brian, or is this break going to help Richard?
It will help Richard more than Brian. Brian would have loved to have stayed out there and carried on. Again, a totally different person walking off after them 2 sets. He was excited. He was helping with the supporters there. Yeah, it's a different game now, and obviously the break does change things, but the momentum is definitely with Brian, and he played awesome in them 2 sets.
And our next match is scheduled to be 18-year-old Bo Greaves, who's up against Eileen de Graaf. There's one more semi-final place up for grabs. Unfortunately, Bo Greaves isn't feeling very well at the moment. She does look quite unwell. So there's a possibility that the men's match may be moved before that one with Cameron Menzies and James Hurrell, just to try and give Bo a little bit more time to try and recover, Tony. That would be the right call, do you think?
Yeah, of course, and they won't make the guys come straight on. They will give them a little time. They'll give them a bit of notice just in case, and the 2 guys are more than ready to step in. And yeah, it might add a little time to the evening, but I think we're going to have a late evening anyway.
I think Brian Rahman's given the boys a bit more time anyway for later, hasn't he? Taking this one.
Of course, it's only 2-2, and 3 more sets to go, and that could, if they go deep into each set, we could be here another 45 to an hour anyway. So, yeah, whichever happens, I mean, they'll accommodate it, and hopefully she feels a little bit better for the end of the evening.
Yeah, we wish Bo well, and we hope she's all right. But hopefully that bit of extra time might just make it okay. But we'll see how that develops. We still don't know if the matches are going to be switched around. But this one, Tony, it's high quality, isn't it? We're loving it.
Yeah, we'll just concentrate on these next 3 sets, because I think there will be 3 more sets, and could be 5 legs per set. So, yeah, I mean, we expected a great game from these 2 guys, and they've certainly delivered, and we're all looking forward to this next session.
Yeah, as Tony said, we're back to square one. It's all square at 2-all.
It's the first to 4 sets who will take a place in the semi-finals. Now, there might be a rejigging of the order here of the matches to follow. The reason being that Bo Greaves, who is due to play Eileen de Graaf in the next match, the women's quarter-final. Bo not feeling well. There's not a decision taken about whether or not she's going to play, about whether or not it's going to be delayed, but there is a possibility that Cameron Menzies and James Hurrell, who are both in the practice room and have been there for a long time, so they'll be ready. Cameron Menzies and James Hurrell may be asked to play before Eileen de Graaf and Bo Greaves.
First things first, we just wish that Bo is okay.
Absolutely, I'd echo that 100%.
60.
Interesting situation in this match now, and Veenstra starting the better with a 90 and a 137.
96.
Up to this point, which is roughly the halfway mark if we go all the way. Averages Rahman 90 and a half.
94.
92 and a half for Veenstra. We've had 11 maximums in this match to date, which is brilliant shooting from both players. 6 for the Belgian, 5 for the Dutchman, and the doubles have been pretty good as well. 33% for Brian, so 1 in every 3 hits.
135.
Better from the Dutchman,
closer to
40%.
78. Looking at double 12.
66. Brian, you require 152.
This is possible. Just went to bash it in off the other dart and just came up short.
Richard, you require
double
12.
6 for the opening leg of set 5.
Game shot in the first leg. Richard Veenstra. Second leg, Brian to throw first.
I think these guys are getting quicker.
100.
Ready to go into overdrive. Best of 3 sets from here to see who goes through.
140.
Veenstra trying to recapture the high-scoring form 99. That he showed early in the match.
I think he's looking for that consistency, or has been searching for it for the last 6 years. He is known as a
125.
Slightly streaky player, but then again, streaky players have this tendency to win big titles, don't they? Look at what Richards won in his career, the Dutch Open, when he beat Ryan Hogarth in the final. That was a massive highlight of his career. He's won the Europe Cup singles as well. And the British Open, which has been won by some of the greats.
I was going to say, they certainly don't give that particular title away. Veenstra on a finish on 136. Rahman
60.
only managing to get down to 150. So Veenstra here to go 2 up. Not to be on this visit, but he's trying to just tighten his grip on this
96.
set.
Brian, you require 150.
That last start was marvellous. He's put himself in a lovely position
94.
to break
Richard,
the Brian Rahman throw. Tops it is for 2-0.
And
game shot in the second leg.
Great
Richard
darts.
Veenstra.
Throwing with certainty. And whatever he did when he got away from the stage, he's refocused and trying to please his supporters and, of course, his wife.
She's still in that pose, white knuckling it,
58.
almost praying the whole time.
Well, she'll know just how much it would mean to Richard, because he's been talked up for such a long time for being a real talent of the game. And in a lot of ways, although you did highlight some of his successes, in a lot of ways he has perhaps been just a little bit of an underachiever for the
22.
talent he unquestionably has.
I would say that's probably true. He's been very close to some other big titles, but I think the memories of the other ones missed.
100.
would be erased if he found something this week. This match has got £5,500 on the line, but they're not thinking about the money, they're thinking about the opportunity.
And to be recognised as Lakeside champion.
135.
That's what they all want. Some people kind of poo-poo it a bit in some areas, but I tell you what, everybody here, everybody involved in this, and everybody who's watching it, they realise the importance of it to them.
Went for 2 bullseyes. It was a lovely lie. He's just checking his scoring position. I think he's got a small 3 here, which would leave 79. It was a small 3.
70.
A very small 3, about as small as you can get. 200 for Veenstra, putting the pressure on and filling it up magnificently.
3 is the number there. 360s. Double 4.
60.
Oh, what a chance for Veenstra now.
This is for the set.
Richard, you require 20.
Sorry, this is for the set. Double 10. No, he's not done it.
I am
Brian, you require 2.
flabbergasted that that did not get hit. Double 1. And Rahman
In the third leg.
takes him all the way back to 501.
Fourth leg,
Well,
Brian
how
to
costly
Rufus.
might that
Game
turn
on.
out to be? Richard Veenstra might be looking back and thinking, if only, from that particular point.
43.
I think he's the kind of player that has this amazing ability to forget what has happened.
140.
There's the evidence. It takes a great player to be able to do that, to get back on the horse and score a 140 after missing 3 set darts.
100.
I can bring you some good news about Bo Greaves. I'm happy to tell you that she says she's okay and that she
100.
can play, and there'll be no delay in her match, so it will be Eileen de Graaf against Bo Greaves right after this one.
Great news.
60.
Rahman looking to level this one up.
Can you imagine the confidence levels of the Riddler? That's his chosen nickname. If he was able to win this set
78.
from 2-0 down and facing set darts.
Good darts, terrific.
134. Brian, you require
Beautiful cover
100.
shots, but this is one that Rahman needs to take.
Oh boy, so creative.
87.
I was looking at tops. He was
Richard,
looking at
you
treble
require
18, double
67.
13.
Bizarre. 67, 50 remaining. Double 16, 1 dart in hand.
35.
No.
Brian, you require 13.
That is now 4 set darts missed. Double 4. Could have been the last chance saloon. And he really wants this set, but he's dicing with 5th set death.
I really didn't get that when he
60.
when he wound up on 13. What was that about?
Well, when you've got 80 left and you've got a blocked treble 20, you've got other options. Treble 16 and double is pretty traditional. 2 double tops is very popular at the minute, but this guy counts a little bit differently. Very similar to
100.
Belgian legend Eric Claris. He wanted to get 80 points in 2 with 2 open beds, so 54-26. They're quite close together.
100.
You can see what he was doing, it's just very unconventional.
I can honestly say I don't think I've seen that before.
81.
Certainly not in a match on which I've had a microphone in my hand like this.
So if you see him in future tournaments, you're going to have to watch out for that now.
121.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian. 320, languishes trailing by 100, and he's only taken 45 off it, so advantage Veenstra. This is potentially a set-winning leg. It will be at the end of this, and he is in the ideal place.
He could have won the set 3-0. Could have won the set 3-1. Should win 3-2 to go 3-2 up in sets.
Red judge require 40.
He's got 6 darts at it. He needs only one. And Veenstra is back in front again. 3-2, only needs one more.
That is bulletproof darting there from Veenstra. I am in such admiration of that, because if you're weak in mind,
137.
you lose that set from 2-0 up. And the fact that he's able to have a 13 darter in the set decider after what's happened before, what does that tell you about this guy?
And there was a slight trace of a smile, admittedly behind the back of his opponent.
60.
It was the slight smile of somebody who knew maybe that he'd got him. We'll see.
We'll see. I just love this format
43.
this year where there's no tiebreaker. It provides urgency. And they know that if they go to the final set, there's no such thing as winning by 2 clear legs, going to 5-5 and then winning a last leg shootout. It's all about 3-2 in the final set if we go that far.
140.
If indeed. Veenstra, I'm sure, would be only too happy to walk away with a 4-2 win.
Maybe the good thing for Rahman is that he has been through a match like this previously this week with Johnny Haynes. He's going to have to do something pretty
93.
similar again.
Brian, you require 104.
Double 14.
Game
That's the
shot in the first
quality
leg.
checkout.
Brian Rahman. Second
And
leg.
Rahman
Richard
takes the first leg.
Game on.
As mum and dad watch on.
That wasn't a smile, that was a stern look, as if to say there's plenty of work to
57.
do.
Needed that third one. Found the way through to hit the treble.
I've really warmed to watching Rahman play this week. He's just got one of those styles that if he maintains it for a good period of 5 to 10 years,
100.
he's going to get a lot of positive commentary from us, because he is technically gifted. Mathematically,
95.
he is really interesting, and his attitude is going to get column inches.
Veenstra again in the lipstick and again hitting the maximum, and he's on to a finish.
That is the biggest finish of the tournament by
56.
Mike Warburton and Veronica Ihas.
164.
It will remain that way for just those two for now.
100.
He's a long way clear, 64. Good place to be with your opponent on 250.
68.
Especially when he doesn't
Richard, you
find enough
require
to get to a
64.
finish. So plenty in the bank here as far as darts are concerned. Does he just need the one visit? There's your
Game
answer.
shot on the second leg.
Brilliant from Richard.
Veenstra. Third leg, Brian to throw first.
Came back from that second interval and he's been like a different man, hasn't he? He's sort of went missing
140.
between legs 2 and 4, but he's back now more where he set off.
60.
She might have a career as a referee with calls of 60 like that.
71.
We did have a female referee the last time we had this championship, Kerry. If you're watching, Kerry, I know you tweeted me earlier in the week. I hope you're well. Hope you're enjoying the championship.
45.
Rahman well placed now to get his nose ahead again in this set, which he has to win.
128.
Just love the way that first start in the 54 shimmied when it was hit by the other dart, and it just said, okay,
140.
on you go, on your way to the same bed. 6 darts from 162.
60.
But now Veenstra with a 140 here will get himself possibly back into this leg.
180 would be nice. That really would get him back in.
135. Ryan, you require
Possibly he was
102.
going to get it as well. Treble 14, is it? No. Treble 18 on 82 again.
86.
He's going some weird ways.
Richard,
He's
you
going
require
full on Eric
121.
Claris tonight.
Double 14.
93. Brian, you require 16.
Double 8 required. This is a big dart now. And he's
Game shown
managed to get it in
Brian
there.
Rahman.
You can see the sense of relief.
Fourth leg, Richard to throw first.
I felt relief
Game on.
for him. It's about time he kicked in. And he might need another gear
96.
to get this set in the book and then into the final set. He's wearing the largest watch I've ever seen. It's about the same as the clock face around the neck of Flavor Flav.
140.
Of what?
There was a very famous 80s band called Public Enemy, and one of their stars had a clock around his neck.
66.
That's it. They weren't very famous, were they? Sort of.
I was into some very strange music in the 80s.
96.
Good switch from Veenstra.
134.
He has me thinking he was trying to take the 9 off the end of his score, but he ends up with 2 57s to give himself a bit of a cushion here.
57.
And no 57 there for Rahman to get to a 170.
So it's advantage Veenstra as he tries to keep this set alive. That's a loose one. Just checking where the score is. You want to leave himself on something he can. Well, that's
81.
brilliant, isn't it?
Good thinking, using the referee. Brilliant execution. This is a big moment.
100. Richard, you require 124.
1, 2, 4. He's in the wrong bed, wrong side of the wire, needed the treble 20. And he's only got 4. 120 remaining. Well, treble 20 is the dart.
24.
Earlier in the match, Rahman had 108,
Brian, you require
and he went the
108.
19s route. 4 19s for double 16 will give him set 6. That leaves 87. Tentatively saying treble 17. Because he has been doing
56.
different things in this match, but
Richard, you
Veenstra
require
to take us to the
100.
hill in set 6.
Well, this is altogether more straightforward. Double top. And he's got it for 2 apiece. So it goes to the deciding leg.
We reached that point where if
Game
Rahman
on.
breaks here, this match continues. But if Veenstra holds,
No, it's the other way
it's gone
round.
the other way
It's
around.
the other way
Sorry.
round.
My apologies.
100.
But if Veenstra does win this leg, he wins the match.
Great start. Fabulous. Good as a maximum.
177.
Fabulous from Veenstra.
100.
What a time to find that. And continuing. And again.
Get it hit.
It's
there!
6 perfect darts. And the you-know-what is very much on. And with it, he would take the match.
45. Richard, you require
144 required. Is it to be? Yes. Yes! Double 12. Oh, just the
120.
wrong side of the wire.
Oh, earlier in the year we saw Willie Borland at the PDC World Championship win a match with a 9-darter. He would have taken Willie Borland's and raised it.
Veenstra is getting a standing ovation from a large part of this lakeside crowd.
60.
And now
Richard, you
he
require
needs
24.
24. And he's got it.
Shot.
He
And
gets
the
it
match.
so close to that
Richard
9-darter. Tremendous performance. He went missing for a couple of sets. Rahman, in all honesty, didn't quite produce the level that we know he's capable of finding. But what a brilliant effort from Veenstra, who takes his place in the last 4. And who knows, at last, this might be his year. And I think it's fair to say that Monique is one very happy lady. What a good game.
An astonishing effort. When you miss a 9-darter in the last leg of the contest like that, you think, I just missed history. But that was 32 years I've been waiting for one of those. But that wait goes on. But the wait for Richard for this title might only last another 48 hours.
He sportingly got the crowd to applaud his beaten opponent, but it is Richard who wins. Veenstra through, and he takes it 4-2. A very fine match.